So have you ever heard of the phrase stabbed in the back? Well, if you speak English or you're from an English-speaking culture, you probably have. So what's it mean to be stabbed in the back? Generally speaking, it means to be hurt by somebody that's close to you without seeing it coming. Some people probably would elaborate and say, well, it's somebody being nice to your face and then doing something to hurt you without you seeing it coming, quote, behind your back. Well, I guess that's fine and dandy. That fits too. But I want to talk about something real quick, and that's, what do you do when you've been stabbed in the back? You know, you can have somebody hurt you by this measure, by stabbing you in the back, figuratively speaking, not physically. Well, it can happen physically, never. But what do you do when you figuratively have been stabbed in the back? You know, it could have been by a friend, a coworker, a family member, any number of things. But as I think about it, I realize that the figurative stabbed in the back is very similar to the actual physical stabbed in the back. Now, what do I mean? What I mean is, if you've physically been stabbed in the back, that person's close to you in proximity. They are physically close to you, unless they like lobbed it at you or threw it at you. But we're going to say stabbed, as in it was in their hand and they stuck it into your back. They were close to you. So, figuratively speaking, for somebody to get to stab you in the back, they probably were close to you. They were in a position to be able to take advantage of the opportunity to be able to stab you in the back. So what do I do with this? Well, I believe you can treat it the same, both physically and emotionally, or figuratively, as it happens. In self-defense, if somebody's attacked you, especially if you've been stabbed in the back, you didn't see it coming, what's the first thing you have to do? The first thing you have to do is you have to get distance. You have to get away from what just happened to you. You've got to be able to create distance to be able to even make that next step. Now, figuratively speaking, if you've been stabbed in the back, as soon as you realize it or find out, what you have to do is you have to make that distance. Now, that could be a couple different things. I mean, one is, you know, you have to be able to gain that distance from the person that just done it to you. Not necessarily physically in this case, although I wouldn't recommend you being around close proximity to somebody that's just stabbed you in the back figuratively, because this could turn into a physical altercation. And that might not be what we want. So somebody stabbed you in the back, figuratively. You have to get some space. Now, I can't really give you advice on that because it depends on what happened, how it happened, and who it happened from. You know, you just got to be able to figure out how you can make some separation from them. Unfortunately, if this is family, it's going to be really hard. If it was a really close friend or a spouse or, you know, somebody that was supposed to be very close to you, unfortunately, these people are in those positions to be able to do this to you. Well, if they've done it to hurt you. So you need to gain some distance from them. Now, in a real knife fight or in a real attack, you've just been stabbed. Step one, you get your distance. Step number two, you have to defend from a next swing or a stab or another attack. You've gotten your distance, but you have to check the scene. You have to make sure that you're not getting attacked again. And where you just turned your back to, you got to be aware of where, you know, what's my back facing now? Now, this sounds like a lot, and it is. So it's important in the first step that you're able to do it quickly. Now, a lot of times you're going to get stabbed in the back, and it's going to be a while before you realize it. Now, in a real fight or a real attack, you're going to know it pretty quick. But in a figurative stab at the back, it might be a little bit. So you've gained your distance, and now you're looking for another attack. It's going to be a little more difficult. So you just got to figure out how to predict. Now, with your distance, that usually does a lot of it, because if it was just coming from the one person and the one stab, they might be done. But if they're not, you're at least now in a position where you might be able to see it coming. You can see where they are, and you can react to it a little bit better. So, step number 3, in a real knife attack, You made your distance. You've checked your scene, checking for that other attack. Now you got to, is the knife still in your back? If it is, we've got to tend to it. That may mean getting it out, or, seeking medical help, doing something about it. So figuratively speaking, you've been stabbed in the back because somebody said something that has hurt you. I'm assuming quite detrimentally. So you gained your distance. You've looked to see if they're still trying to attack you or not. They're not. You've got that position to be able to heal. This, once again, is going to depend. I wish I had all those answers and I could just spit those out. But it's going to depend on who and what they did. It may be getting counseling, getting therapy, going to somebody, going to another friend to get help. There might be some way that you can fix how they stabbed you in the back. But just be careful in approaching that. You don't want to bring yourself any more harm. You don't want to close that distance again and get struck at. So that's it in a nutshell really quick. I just wanted to spill that out there. I know it's probably a bunch of garbage, useless information maybe to you, but I just realized the real similarity between the actual physical stabbed in the back and the figurative speaking stabbed in the back. Hopefully you've never been through this, but I think as adults, at some point in time, we've been through it, whether it was when we were a kid or to adult, but by the time you get into adulthood. And I just hope that you're able to respond and react when these things happen in such a way that it doesn't bring you more harm or bring more tragedy upon you. You have to think clear, and sometimes when things happen in the heat of the moment, we don't think very clear. But remember, you get stabbed in the back, just try to do those 3 things, and always breathe, always get a breath, take a breath, but get your space from whoever just stabbed you. Make sure that you're watching to make sure that it's not going to happen again right there. And 3, get some help to that wound. After that, you should be in a position to be able to help yourself from there. Okay? Hope this helped somebody. Maybe it helped me just venting about it. So, God bless you.